Before we begin, please imagine the bell notification is on and you're subscribed to Huna Stories. I wasn't thinking about anything dramatic when I walked into the restaurant. My mind was crowded with ordinary worries, whether the vegetarian options were enough, if Aunt Sarah would complain about her seat, if the cake table would block the emergency exit like it did at my cousin's wedding years ago. Weddings are strange like that, so much emotion wrapped in logistics. The entrance door hadn't even fully closed behind me when she stepped into my path. "Excuse me." A young waitress, or maybe not young. It's harder to tell these days. What I noticed first wasn't her face, but her voice. Too controlled, too deliberate. "I'm sorry, ma'am," she said softly, leaning slightly closer. "Could you hide behind the divider in the back?" I blinked. "I'm here for a meeting," I replied, automatically polite. "I know." Her eyes flicked toward the dining area. "Please, just for a few minutes." Trust me, there are moments when your brain searches for logic and finds none. Every reasonable instinct pushed back. This was absurd, socially inappropriate, borderline alarming. Yet something in her expression, not fear exactly, not panic, unsettled me in a way I couldn't articulate. Not hysteria, certainty. "Why?" I asked. "I can't explain right now." That should have ended it. It almost did. But weddings change your tolerance for uncertainty. Everything feels fragile, interconnected. A week before my daughter's wedding, even small disruptions carry weight. My hesitation stretched longer than it normally would have, and then I did something I still struggle to explain. I followed her. The divider stood near the back corner, decorative wood panels separating the main hall from a smaller lounge area. Not exactly hiding, more like stepping sideways out of sight. She positioned me carefully, as if angles mattered. "Please stay here," she whispered. "Just wait." Then she walked away. No drama, no backward glance. I stood there feeling faintly ridiculous. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Just the muted sounds of cutlery, low conversation, glasses touching tables. I considered stepping back out, reclaiming my dignity from whatever strange misunderstanding this was. Then I heard a voice, familiar. My daughter's fiancé. He was seated at a table, partially obscured from my view, but not from my hearing. The divider filtered images, not sound. "She doesn't know," he was saying. A pause. Another voice answered, male, older, calm. "Are you sure?" "Yes." Something inside me shifted, not alarm yet, just attention sharpening. "It's better this way," my future son-in-law continued. "After the wedding, it'll be complicated to undo anything." Undo? Such an ordinary word. "So the property transfer stays temporary?" the older man asked. "For now." I felt my pulse begin to change, slow and heavy. Property transfer, temporary. Words rarely arrive with meaning attached. They collect it as they move. "I just don't want surprises," he added. "Her mother can be unpredictable." The older man chuckled lightly. "She won't interfere." "No, she trusts me." Silence settled between their sentences like punctuation. Trust is also an ordinary word, but when you hear it from the wrong distance, it sounds different. Fragments of recent weeks began quietly rearranging themselves in my mind. Casual questions about paperwork, repeated reassurance that legal details were standard, the gentle insistence that everything be handled quickly, efficiently. I wasn't thinking about betrayal yet, just patterns. "She signed the preliminary authorization?" the older voice asked. "Yes, authorization signed." My breath changed without permission. "It's clean," he continued. "Once we restructure after the ceremony, everything aligns." Restructure, ceremony, aligns. Language can be strangely surgical. I didn't feel anger, not immediately. What I felt was disorientation, the slow, nauseating sensation of reality adjusting its edges, like stepping onto what you think is solid ground and discovering a slight, terrifying give beneath your weight. "She doesn't even read those documents," he said, almost amused. "She hates financial stuff." The older man laughed softly. "You chose well." There it was. Not the words, the tone. That subtle ease, the absence of tension, of doubt, of ethical friction, as if they were discussing seating arrangements, not my daughter's life. Something cold moved through me then. Not shock, recognition. 5 minutes earlier, I had been worrying about centerpieces. Now I was reconstructing my child's future from overheard sentences. I don't know how long I stood there. Time behaves strangely when certainty fractures. Seconds stretch, compress, lose structure. I remember the ambient restaurant sounds continuing with cruel normalcy. Plates, footsteps, distant laughter. The world rarely pauses for personal revelations. Eventually, the chairs scraped. Their conversation ended. I stayed hidden, not because I was afraid, because I was thinking. Emotion demands reaction. Instinct demands confrontation. But years of parenting have a way of training another muscle, restraint under pressure. When I finally stepped out from behind the divider, the waitress was waiting near the corridor. She didn't look triumphant. She looked tired. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "You knew," I replied. She nodded. My sister worked for his firm. That was all she offered. No elaborate explanation, no dramatic backstory, just enough truth to anchor the moment in reality. Outside, the air felt unnaturally sharp. My phone vibrated in my hand. A message from my daughter. "Did you finalize the menu?" I stared at the screen. There are discoveries that explode, and there are discoveries that settle like weight, dense, immovable, impossible to ignore. I typed slowly, yes, because technically I still had. Everything else would require decisions I wasn't yet ready to name. Clarity, I learned that day, does not always arrive with relief.